Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Check 1 2.
Check. Is this thing gone?
Test. You know what it is, First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Friday, March 17th. I don't know where September is.
Ooh. Skipping ahead.
Way ahead.
Yeah, almost skipped the good part.
Man, it's supposed to, yeah, right. That's right. I'm skipping over summer. Skipping over Napa Valley, everything.
Man. Omaha days. Juneteenth. Come on,
man. It's gonna snow later on today, so I'm just skipping.
Ooh. Yeah, you can skip that.
Yeah, man. Friday, March 17th, 2023. Fresh edition of First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
It's going down. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. A fresh edition of First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the DS.
In the DS is going down. Yeah. Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners as well. Appreciate the 6:30 crew getting up this morning. I already gave me some good words on the mix. So appreciate you jumping in and joining in.
Vibes.
Checking us out.
Vibrations.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Beth. She holds it down. 6:30 crew. That's what's up.
Hey.
Hey, and thank you guys, just everybody for getting up so early with us. It feels real early this morning, like real early.
A little bit.
Tired,
boss.
But it is Friday, so I don't know about who is anybody work regular 9 to 5 jobs anymore? Y'all got Saturday morning off?
Man,
don't I say happy Friday, but it ain't like I ain't gonna work tomorrow. So when is the weekend nowadays? I don't know.
Yeah. When does the week end?
Yes. Pops in the chat says Friday. Wow. Love to my First Sky fam. Appreciate you, Pops.
Hey.
Leia Keeser says happy Friday. Yippee yay. She real happy.
Okay.
She must work on Monday through Friday.
She remixed it.
She said yippee ki It's going down. Judy Princess says morning fam. Another friend with breast cancer. Oh my goodness. Mastectomy today. Prayers and healing for all. Man. Sorry to hear that, Judy. Yeah. Prayers for everybody. That's rough, man. Like Miss Erica Phelps says, get yourself checked.
Yeah. Men too. Actually, a couple years ago, I lost a male cousin of mine to breast cancer, and he was like very, very. That was kind of like his mission. Was to spread awareness for breast cancer in men. That is a thing, and men can catch breast cancer and battle with it. Just the same, of course, it's not as frequent, but it does happen. So definitely rest in peace to cousin Al. And yeah, man. He's actually written a couple books, to help like men cope through that too, because that's men in health is already a taboo thing, but to get to struggle with things like breast cancer or maybe like ED, some things that might be embarrassing to talk about as a man. So he's written some books that might help some people.
Yeah, that's what's up. Have to reference those. Look those up and check them out for sure.
Yeah. Everybody, check your titties.
Yeah, man. Also, just thinking about the disparities in health community with Black folks in general. I talked to a lot of. I learned a long time ago from some of the bigger breasted women in my family that you have to go ask for you have to not just ask for mammograms, but sometimes you got to ask for ultrasounds and all kinds of stuff that pass through thicker tissue in order to see things that that regular mammograms sometimes can't see. So, of course, when they built the mammograms machines and stuff like that, they really didn't build them for bigger folks. And so a lot of times you got to remember to go ask and go doubly check and do all these things. So, yeah, man, spreading the word. Spreading the word is it's a hard thing. I know 4 or 5 people now personally that had to get double mastectomies. And I've heard about breast cancer in men, but somebody you had a family member, so like it's something that's right here on us.
Yeah, man, it's real. I mean, I've also lost an aunt to breast cancer, so definitely, big shout out, kudos and prayers, to all the breast cancer warriors, everybody out there fighting. Definitely prayers and healing for all, as Judy Prinzler said. Health is wealth, y'all. Health is wealth.
Pop says I have Saturday morning off. You got every day off now.
Keeping it smooth.
I hope to keep doing what we're doing here and expand First Sky Omaha well into my retirement.
Man.
And I'm inspired by Pops, who, when he retired, then a plethora of books was written and music and everything else. He really exploded on the creative side when he retired. So that he's my idol when it comes to that. I hope to keep on doing some of this stuff that I love and making that the thing, well into my retirement. And I got to start thinking about that, man. I'm the same age as hip hop right now. I'm 50. I'm about being turned 50 this year. So it's like retirement is really right around the corner.
Hey, but don't put it like you old, man. Don't put it like you on the back half. What I'm saying, the green. I mean, I keep getting reminded, man. Quincy, he hit Thriller till like 50, man. Like you still got some years, man. You never know. You could hit the thing.
Yeah, you never know. As far as business and stuff's concerned, for sure. Yeah, that's the definite thing. But when it comes to everything else, tomorrow's not promised. So
true. That
like
part.
That. Quincy got a lot of money. That's why he just turned 90. He got a lot of money.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to tell you about something that I forgot to tell you about yesterday. Chuck D, in honor of the 50th year of hip hop, has just launched a app called Bring the Noise. I went to go sign up for it, and you can't. You got to be invited to it. So he put this button on the website that you hit, and you're supposed to record yourself saying why you want to get the Bring the Noise app.
What? That's dope.
Super dope. And Chuck D, I had to mention that we're working on a show that has to do with the intersection between hip hop and politics via Whitney Richardson and Star Trek Rich. Man, we've been talking about this show coming up that we're doing. And I'm thinking, man, Chuck D, because through Kyle Eustace we can get to Chuck D, have Chuck D come on the show, and I'm thinking this cat is the professor of the intersection between hip hop and politics. We definitely need to have him on and talk about some of these things. So that's what's up,
man. Like him and KRS, that'd be like, man.
Oh, man.
Who we might also have contact too, man. We might have to make some things happen.
Might have to make
some things. Yeah, man. So definitely shout out to the OGs. What does the app do? Do you like what? Is it like a social media? Yeah, what is it? Is it like a social media app or?
I'm not sure. It's not a social media app. I'm not sure what it does. I think it's just gonna be like news, shows that he's putting together. He has a whole kind of radio empire. So I think right. Transferring some of that stuff to the actual app, so you don't have to go online and all that. Well, we'll see, man. I didn't care. I was gonna be on there asking for it because that's dope,
man. Yeah, that's Chuck, man. We got to get down.
Yep. Pops says Benjamin Franklin did nothing that you heard of until his 50s.
I'm saying, man. Hey, you could still be in your prime. You can still be in your, and also shout out to OG Gip Goody of Goody Mob, who man, shout out to Big Gip, man, the OG who's been kind of waving the flag as far as like he's like, rock, like a lot of the, funk, like a lot of the other genres. Amen. They don't age out their artists, man. So you keep talk about the old head rap. So you keep coming with this I'm 50, I'm old energy, man. Hey, Paul, you never know, man. Hitting your stride. Might be just now in your prime.
Yeah, bro. I ain't striding out of bed anymore. rolling out. And yeah, but no, I'm very excited about like being the same age as hip hop, and then I'm understanding like what that actually means for a genre.
Right,
And,
right.
and you're right, man. Mick Jagger gonna be rolling out on a wheelchair on his next concert. He just
Man,
gonna roll till they fall out on stage. That's what he's working on. So, like, why can't hip hop cats do that? Why can't black rappers first of all get old in the first place?
that part. Black men deserve to get old.
Secondly, why can't they have a career well into the? I mean, that's the reason. The real reason why Jay-Z and them guys are prolific is because they are in their late 40s, 50s, going for it. Still here, still on top. Look at Nas, I'm still on top.
Man, still doing it.
So they showing us they're leading the way into that territory, just like how the rock gods did that too. Like Rolling Stones and them. Nobody knew that Rolling Stones gonna keep on rocking until their old age like that.
Man, keep on rolling.
Keep on rocking and rolling. Roll out on stage in a wheelchair.
Yeah. So sucker MCs. Bring it back.
Old heads in the house going down.
Man.
Thank you for joining us. We do have special guests coming in today. Brothers Senators Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne. Give us a little bit of legislative report. Lots going on in the legislature. By the way, I put a video out, and I thought for sure that it was up, and I started looking around. It's not. I'll give you a little piece of that video. I don't know if you remember last time Justin Wayne was on, he said he give him a De La Soul lyric. He was on De La Soul Day, and he said give him a lyric. He'll read it on the floor. Check it out.
Man.
Recognize Senator Wayne.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, today is De La Soul Day. If you don't know what that is, you should look them up. It's a great group who influenced our culture in a lot of ways. And so I'm just going to read a short quote in their honor from one of their songs. It was, "Focus is formed by the Florence to the soul. So who flung styles gain praises by pounds. Common and our speakers who honor the scroll written daily create a new sound." I'll yield the rest of my time to Senator Kavanaugh.
Senator Kavanaugh, that's 4 minutes and 15 seconds.
Thank you, Senator Wayne. I actually saw De La Soul in concert when I was living in the UK, and it was a very fun, and they have a lot of great messages in their music. So thanks for sharing that.
A slight flex on Senator McKavanaugh. Michaela Kavanaugh with the flex. And shout out to Senator Wayne, man. Speaking of sucker MCs, man, putting them lyrics down on the floor, letting them know.
Yeah, man, that's what's up. So I thought I posted. I thought that went up, but I don't know why it didn't. You know how Facebook does this sometimes. So it was not up this whole time. I was like, man, that's messed up. But that's okay. We got the clip. It's going down. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And those were the lyrics you sent?
Yeah. Yep. It's from the song 3 is the magic number from
Man,
from
3
Behind and Rising, bro.
It's the magic number.
Pops,
Yes,
when I was like 15, my first job at Marie Callender's as a busboy. That's all and my Walkman. That's all we did was listen to 3 Feet High and Rising like every day at school, every day at work. That was a huge influence on me, man. And it's a trip to be here, turning 50 this year. Hip hop turning 50 this year, and then De La Soul Day happens this year. And the 3 Feet High and Rising album is the one that everybody's celebrating because it never has been on any of the platforms before. And so a whole new generation is getting hip to this whole thing, man. And now I'm looking back on it, and them kids was 17 and 18. So I was 15, they was 17.
Man,
so
kids.
they was just kids having fun. You can hear it all over the record. It was a good time in hip hop, man. Native Tongues era was great. So here we are back at it. And that's why I know I'm old. The nostalgia of it all, bro. This is like nostalgia days right here. So that's what's up.
But it might be coming back as far as a good time party music. Hopefully.
Hope so. We ain't got no good times to talk about today, though. Of course, we got to talk about a few of the issues and things that are going on in the news. Buddy, what's going on in our world today?
Man, a lot going on. Actually, as we speak of the legislative floor, big shout out to the senators putting in the work because, a lot of work to be put in, man. Culture wars, taxes, minimum wage on tap for Nebraska lawmakers in second half of the session, as reported by Omaha World Herald. So we'll definitely be looking at the talking about the back nine. We'll definitely be looking at the last stretch of the legislative sessions as we reach the halfway point in this year's session. So, and definitely looking at what looking back and also looking ahead as to what we should be expecting and looking out for. Also, some big fights. We'll actually get some more insight, looking to speak to the senators McKinney and Wayne, put some respect on their names, about this fight on death penalty that should be coming up again in Nebraska. It's been actually a very ugly saga when you talk about the death penalty in Nebraska. Remember, Ricketts basically using his own money, going into his own pocket to kill some people. So yeah, we'll definitely talk about that here throughout the state, or throughout the show today. Also, continuing our education conversation, big shout out to some of the chat chimers dropping things on the Friends of page. Again, if you're not a member of the Friends of First Sky Omaha page on Facebook, go ahead and join the group, join the conversation. It continues there after and before and in between the shows. So again, big shout out to all the chat chimers putting posts there, looking at what's going on in Texas. It looks like it could be, if any omen, if anything that happens in Texas is an omen about what happens in Nebraska, we should definitely be paying attention. Of course, we've seen the similar situation with abortion in Nebraska following suit on Texas. Could it be the same with education? So we'll definitely talk about that coming up. Also, a few other posts have made its way across our news desk, if you will. Definitely going to be looking at what's going on with the Greater Omaha Chamber of Commerce now changing leadership. And I don't know, Paul, if you're seeing this, but I got a question, man. What's going on with our quote unquote women of color coming into leadership and then not staying very long? If you remember, again, OPS lost their superintendent after a short stint. So we'll definitely talk about that and more. Of course, if there's anything on your hearts and minds that we're not talking about, feel free to let us know, man. Drop that into the chat. Let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get this show on the road, man. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you. Let's go.
Let's get it. What up? Good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners, everybody that's joined in with us this morning, radio listeners as well. Shout out to the 630 crew. Thanks for giving me the feedback on the mix this morning, and I really appreciate you guys over there checking us out. If you have Amazon Alexa, you can always ask your Alexa to listen to First Sky Omaha Radio. It's a celebration of black music on there, and then, of course, from the hours of 7 to 9 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we are live on the channel over there as well. So thanks for joining us. Tell a friend. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, share the show so we can get as many people in the room as possible to talk and have some deep discussion on the issues. Amy Huffless gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. Appreciate you over there on YouTube. Still trying to get to that 200 followers on YouTube as well. So yeah, man. Tell a friend, come on over and check it out. We are definitely getting word from on the street, from people around town that we're doing some good work, and we're really trying to continue to do that good work. Really appreciate all the feedback from everybody that has been hitting us up, man, offline and in the DMs and everything else. So what's going on with our conversations here is really striking a chord with people in the city, paying attention. Got to talk to the elder brother Preston Love Jr. yesterday. And he gave us some reassurance we're doing some good work and wants to collab on some things. So look forward to some collaborations with us in Black Votes Matter and some other things in the works. So again, it's all because of you guys. Really appreciate you guys coming in and talking to us. Also, I got to make the editorial meeting at the Reader for the first time in a while. And again, it's interesting how we talk about the information that comes out of these shows because of the chat chimers, because of the conversations that we're having. really do reach people who are investigative reporters and looking into what's going on and writing these stories. People are paying attention to what we have to say about the issues here because of these conversations that we're having Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So again, can't do it without y'all. Really appreciate everybody who is a part of this, and everybody who contributes to Friends of First Sky Omaha as well. Man, that page, you got to scroll down a while to find some things on that page now because it's hopping right now. So I appreciate everybody that's putting stuff in there. We definitely look at that place first when we're looking at what we need to be talking about on the shows, so we can take your cue from it. So I appreciate that very much. Pops in here joking, talking about my first job. He said he thought I was he thought I was just cussing because I had to go to work in Marie calendars. Yeah, it was not a great job. It was not a fun job. It was kind of fun though. My best friend Sean Henry was there with me.
Okay.
He was listening to 3 Feet High and Rising and acting a fool in there. So it was good times, but and carefree times too. That's it. When you're 15, you ain't got to pay no rent, bro. So any job is better.
Man, remember those days.
Judy Princess says, I've been listening to you for a long time and I've learned so much. Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
really
thank you.
that.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Judy goes back to the Mind and Soul days. So, yeah, man. Can y'all believe we creeping up on 10 years doing this? Man, we getting close. Getting close. We cut the ribbon in 2017.
Yeah,
4 years away.
Man, that's a trip. Yeah, real trip. Yeah, and just to think that, there's so many different ways that everybody's trying to keep this thing called black media going. It's interesting how far, how far it's come, how far things have come now. So really working on it. Ariel's 402, there you are. What's going on? Mayor Sanchez says, when you holler, I don't have to listen. I can hear you. When you whisper, I have to listen because I can't hear you. That's deep. What song is that from? Is that from a song?
Or is that just a quote?
It's a good one. I like it. I like it. Yeah. We'll go ahead and jump into some stories here before the brother senators come on. What's on top of your mind, buddy?
Man, well, I'm looking for answers. Again, I don't know if you're seeing it how I'm seeing it, Paul. Listeners, y'all let me know, chat chimers. But what's going on with our quote unquote so-called women of color in leadership in Omaha and not staying very long? Again, another one bites the dust, as reported by KMTV3. This time, Greater Omaha Chamber of Commerce CEO Veta Jeffrey is announced to be leaving. The change will take place late after. Actually, the announcement was made late Wednesday afternoon, and she will be replaced by Tim Burke, who will take over as interim CEO of the chamber, effective immediately. Jeffrey was again announced as the CEO less than a year ago, so a very, very short stint. Following the 20-year tenure of David Brown, spokesman for the chamber told 3 News that he wouldn't be able to comment any further on why Jeffrey is leaving, which I'm sure is the main question. Tim Burke, who is again replacing Jeffrey, is a known figure in the Omaha business community. According to a few individuals, Burke served as CEO of Omaha Public Power District from 2015 until his retirement in 2021. In total, he spent about 24 years with OPPD and various management and executive roles. So again, he now makes his way to the Chamber of Commerce as interim CEO, and then also Carmen Tapio, who I believe is with North End Telecommunications and also board chair of the chamber, said that she and the executive committee has begun a search for a permanent CEO for the chamber. She also added that while the committee will work as swiftly as possible, it is likely to take several months to find the right candidate or get him or her seated in the position. If I'm not mistaken, Jeffrey came to Omaha Chamber after working for some time, I believe, in the Flint, Michigan area. She was working with that chamber for some time and had some success before coming over here. But yeah, I'm just kind of what do you am I reading too much into it, or are you seeing it the same way? Again, remember Dr. Cheryl Logan. She resigned from her position as president of the OPS school district, and now Ms. Veta Jeffrey. What do you think?
She dipped quick. I don't know. It was kind of like she's out, and it's not. She's leaving. We're gonna find a replacement. She'll be stepping down at a certain time. It's just like she's out as of immediately. So that raised some concerns. And then, yeah, I mean, you can't help but parallel that with Dr. Cheryl Logan leaving as well. We pay attention to when black women are in power around here, and what happens there. So a lot of people, I've saw a lot of people on the chat, a lot of people in some of the conversations offline have been saying the same thing, like what's going on with the black women leaving around here? What's going on with the conditions that would call for them to leave and stuff like that. So I'm not really sure. Amy Huffless in the chat is saying word is, so this is word on the street, that she was fired. A bunch of hush hush nonsense, in my opinion. The chamber is a whole mess. So a little insight on what's going, the chamber there. And like I said, we haven't confirmed any of that. That's word on the street. She was fired. The article did say that she's just out as of, effective immediately. And so it's kind of concerning. It's kind of concerning. We don't have a whole lot of black folks in leadership positions. We don't have a whole lot of black women in leadership positions. So it's definitely something to be concerned about.
Yeah, and it might not just be black women. Now that I'm thinking about it, Judy Prinzler also in the chat saying women chief of fire department. I'm not exactly sure what she's referring to. So if you could give us a little more context.
What's going on is they just named the new chief of the new fire chief, and she was an assistant fire chief before, and now since the new fire chief is stepping down, now we have our first woman as a fire chief in Nebraska.
Okay,
in the fire department. Yeah.
Is she black? Is she?
No, I don't know if she's a woman of color or not. I didn't ask about that, but yeah, it's just significant that this is the first woman who's been a fire chief here, so that's pretty significant. But like I said, man, it's kind of, it bears the question, if I'm thinking about this story, what's going on in these companies and in these areas that women in leadership feel like they gotta leave or whatever's going on, because I don't know if it's just the Sarah Logan thing or what, but it seems like a lot. It seems like, yeah, I'm trying to think of more examples. I can't really think of it. It's just striking me as like, what's going on? But really, we're only talking about two people. So,
well, no, that's what I'm saying, because Judy Prinzler reminded me, if you remember, there was a whole situation, and that's what I was saying. It's not just necessarily, it seems to be just an issue with women, period. If you remember, there was a woman firefighter who sued the fire department for discrimination. There was a whole lawsuit about her feeling discriminated, and we had that whole conversation about what the culture of the fire department is and how different that is or similar that is to the Omaha police culture, which we've had, extensive conversations about. And speaking of the Omaha police culture, look at what's going on with Ms. Gonzalez or Mrs. Gonzalez. So, you start to put the pieces together and the puzzle starts to get a little clearer. You know what I mean? So, what's going on with women and either getting in leadership or staying in leadership? It seems like the only one that can stick is Stothert.
And three terms in, right?
Right. So, you tell me.
Yeah. There was a dinner that I've been trying to put together for Sky Omaha, a women in power dinner for a little while, because I was having a revelation that I have a whole lot of friends that are CEOs and executive directors, women of color, just women, white women, everybody. There's just a lot of women friends that are in positions of power. And I started forming this idea of like, what would that look like? We was all in the same room, just the ones that I know, even, So there's that part too. There's this thing all year long where I'm proud of everybody who's catching these ED jobs and stuff like that too. So there's still a lot of women in power positions in certain companies and certain nonprofits and so on. But there's also these other, those are in another level though, like OPS. Mm-hmm. They're making $400,000 or $500,000 over there, like the executive director there, or the CEO there, the president there. I mean, these are some pretty high up positions. So what's going on that people feel like they got to step down or leave or be asked to leave? What's really going on?
Yeah. And what Amy is saying, that the whole chamber is a mess. I'm not too familiar with the Chamber of Commerce, but we might have to look into it. That is an area that we've kind of eyed as, our mission is to big up Omaha. We figure there might be some collaboration that could happen with the chamber in that area. But if you have some information,
let us know. Pops is saying racism and misogyny go hand in hand. I think that's kind of what we dancing around saying that part. That's kind of like what the whole little funny feelings is about right there to me. Amy Huffler says, it seems like people of color who go further in this town play the game. Politics don't ruffle too many feathers and bend to play nice with the money.
Amy saying that?
Amy, that's Amy Huffler's, bro. She's first Sky royalty. She knows. It's interesting you say that though, because you have to, that's a big tenet in like Black liberation talk as well. Like, what do you got to do to be in a position of leadership in a racist city?
All kinfolk ain't kinfolk.
What you got to do, and this is why we appreciate the brother senators so much, because they in there, all power to the people, fighting, and it's a constant fight every single day. It's a constant fight. They got to play the game. They got to do some things, but like they're not playing the game that would take them out of a sense of integrity for what they're in there for and what they're working for, what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So that's rare. That's really rare, because what do you got to do to be a person of color in a red state?
Same for us, man. We could have let the pressures push us to play the game a while ago. When we got people banging on our door talking about Trump.
Yeah.
So you just gotta. We're constantly reminding ourselves and each other. You gotta be aware of where you at.
Lucia Rodriguez in the chat says, Buenos dias. Good morning to you. Appreciate you. Really, really appreciate you coming on as well. Amy says, but then if you play the game for the better good, get criticized. That's true.
That part. Man, Amy putting it out. All right.
Like Michael Jackson said, you can't win. You can't get over and you can't get out of the game.
Man. Von
Chapman gives us a good morning. Life on the plantation. Man. Brother Knight in the house. He says there's a lot to that hypergamy, or using positions or people for advancement. He gave us the definition right. Using positions or people for advancement, inability to withstand criticism or pressure, or subterfuge practiced by people seeking the spot. Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of black liberation talks a lot about that. What do you gotta who you gotta be? There's a whole lot of placeholders and people in power sometimes that they'll put in power just for the color, just because of the like that's all we care about. As long as somebody who's our same color is in there, that's all we care about. That's not true. That's not the case. A lot of times they put some people in there in place in order to placate people and say, well, at least there's somebody black in there. Like what was that one crazy dude that was running?
Herschel Walker, man. This is exactly what I'm talking about. If y'all think black folks wanted Herschel Walker to run anything, y'all are sadly mistaken. Man, but they do stuff like that so they can say, see somebody's black in there, and the black person that's in there is not the person that we want in there. So man. Speaking of that, we've heard we've caught wind that there's some people that's supposed to be representing some people having some conversations. Don't want to spill too many beans, but as far as there's some people in the community that who are they representing? I'll just say that. It's
that is way too vague for us to not give no background on that, but we can't quite yet. So
yep. I'm just plant that seed and let it grow.
There you go. Von Chapman says the Good Old Boy Network is alive and well.
Well, see, I don't even have to say more. That's what I'm talking about. It definitely is.
Yeah. Shout out to Amy Huffless, man, bringing up, saying it plainly. Brother Knight says, but if non-white, regardless of gender, whites won't follow such leadership willingly. I definitely think it would be a fight. Has to be. It's always a fight if anybody's in there trying to do anything. So, rough stuff, man. Love to hear about why the sister had to leave. Like, I'd love to hear about that.
Very hush-hush.
Chamber was something that we were going to get into just as a business. We were, exploring all options and trying to, getting the business more legit and doing everything we need to do and tapping into resources that they have for business, which the Chamber of Commerce does. So I'd like to know a little bit more about what the Chamber's going down and before we join it especially with stuff like this happening. So we'll see. Moving on, it is 7:34 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, let's jump into something else before we brother senators come on, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I do want to pivot. Again, we're asking what's going on with the leadership. And again, Cheryl Logan, another sister who was in leadership, as you mentioned, a very, very high profile position of leadership as the board. I believe president was the name of her title, but I'm not sure. The leader of OPS, and she stepped down. And there's been a lot of question about what's going on with education in Nebraska in general. And of course, we continue to look around, apparently to the south, to kind of get a peek at what might be happening, as we've seen politics in Nebraska too often mimic what's going on in the South. And that's the same situation now that we watch what's going on in Texas. Again, it's being reported by the Texas Tribune, Texas Education Agency, which is an organization ran by the state, has confirmed Wednesday that it is removing Houston Independent School District's democratically elected school board and superintendent. Yes, you heard correctly. Houston's largest, actually the state of Texas's largest school district, just lost its entire board and superintendent, and it effective immediately will be put under state control, which again now makes the state in charge of its largest school district. Houston ISD, which again is the independent school district, has about 276 schools and about 200,000 students enrolled. But the issue is one particular campus, one particular school within the district has scored poorly 5 years consecutively, actually receiving a failing grade at sometimes. And according to state law, if one district or one campus within the district scores poorly for 5 consecutive years, then the state has the authority to take over that school district. Again, the district pushed back and actually sued the state, but the Texas Supreme Court ruled in January that the agency could move forward with its plan to take over the district. Actually, on Wednesday, leaders wrote, even with a delay of 3 full years caused by legal proceedings, systemic problems in Houston ISD continue to impact students most in need of our collective support. So the far-reaching decision has put the agency in the spotlight, of course, with supporters saying that the state needed to fix the problems entrenched in the district. However, opponents noting that Houston has made some improvements in the years over the lawsuit against TEA, which again is the state agency. But this all brings up questions about who controls the school district, continuing to look at this fight over schools. And yeah, where are we going? Where do we stand in this? And could we be seeing the same thing in Nebraska? Mind you, there's already been an attempt to eliminate the state's school board and replace it with the agency that will be under control of the governor, which again would definitely put a lot of power within the governor's seat, who already has a very, very wide array of powers. So definitely continue to look at this. But Paul, what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, it makes me think about all the things that us in the chat chimers here on the show been talking about, this war on education that's been happening, that started when we started talking critical race theory and everything else that's been going on.
Yeah, man.
There's Republican-led government-led states that are really trying to take over the education system. And, we're one of those states where like you just mentioned, our governor was trying to put things in place for that. I don't doubt that Pillin is also working in that realm. But there's a lot. There's so much to this particular subject, because we can go all the way to talking about charter schools, talking about private schools, where money's going, talking about where education, talking about certain states that are doing stuff like banning books, taking out African American studies out of schools, certain schools not teaching about Martin Luther King anymore. There's a huge backlash to the 1619 project, huge backlash to critical race theory, what they think it is, and this is how they're feeling like they want to control things. They want to control what's going on inside the classroom. I mean, everybody does. Everybody wants to control what's going on inside the classroom on both sides, because what are the kids getting taught? So, but it's very clear cut script that seems to be coming from Republican led states on this kind of war on education. So that's why this article stood out to me. This is something that like we always. It seems like Nebraska kind of follows suit sometimes from some of the states, and some of the southern states that are doing some things like that. This is Houston too. Got friends, got family, got people in Houston. A big Omaha connection between Houston and Omaha as well. And a lot of people that move there, that come from there, that go back and forth to there, that have families. I know I got friends that got kids there. They go back and forth to Houston all the time. So there's a huge connection. And here we are looking at Houston in this, in seeing what could happen here, which is they're going to take away voting. They're going to take away the democratic process and just have an agency to control it.
Man.
Definitely Republican-led state, doing exactly what the script said. So that's it. Von Chapman said this is a war on black folk, plain and simple.
Man, he's kind of reading my mind with that one. Let's dive into the details and think critically about this. Again, mind you, this whole state takeover of the state's largest district is because of one school. Phyllis Wheatley Academy. It's only one school in the district that's failing, that's scored poorly. And again, because the law is the law, and this school has scored poorly, and I wouldn't even say poorly because there's a couple recent years, according to the article, it did say that the school received a C score, I believe in 2007. Last year actually, so 2021.
What's wrong with
or 2020? That's what I'm thinking. And as a whole, the district received a B.
That's a C student asking that question, by the way.
Hey, I got a couple C's in my day.
What's wrong with
C? You squeaking barely, but you squeaking by with a C.
No, you squeaking by with a D. A C is okay.
Well, they weren't failing. I'll say that part. And again, as a whole, the district received a B. So the district is doing pretty well. Again, mind you, this is a district of 276 schools, and this whole state takeover has happened because of one school, Phyllis Wheatley Academy. And mind you, also in regards to what Brother Vaughn is saying, think of the makeup. You just mentioned as far as the connection between Houston and Omaha, but again, Houston is probably one of the blackest cities in the country.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Actually, more so than Atlanta. Houston is becoming a yes.
Wait.
I'm telling you. Actually, really? there's man, I have, colleagues and there's DJs and people that I'm working with down here that's talking about like, man, I need to go to Houston, man. Texas is where it's at. Houston. And my brother lives in Houston. My brother lives in Austin. But again, I'm aware of Texas, and Houston is definitely one of the most active hubs for quote unquote black people. Actually, young black professionals. So it's not just poor black people. It's people that are affluent, making moves, making money out in Texas. And again, it's not a too far of a stretch of the imagination to think that a lot of their children are in this school district. So
Houston is blackity black. I didn't know that.
Yes, very, very. So yeah, it's interesting when you look at it. Yeah.
Let me jump into the chat real quick. Mary Ann Williams says, Good morning to you too over there on YouTube. She says a lot of minority administrators in the Houston district, they're saying it was a failing system when they took it over and have improved a lot in a short time.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate that they're pulling this move, even though there's been improvement. Von Chapman says they are not even trying to hide their intentions anymore. Ain't that the truth? Ariel's 402 says, I was a D student and had to go to summer school to graduate, summer class of 91. Well, okay. I was class of 90, bro. So you was right after me. Marianne Williams says the superintendent of Houston ISD is black.
Yeah, and mind you, the whole board and the superintendent got ousted.
That's crazy. Thanks for your comments on this. We will definitely pick this up at a later time. We do have a special guest sitting in the wing, so we go ahead and bring him in because we know they always busy. Ladies and gentlemen, Brother Senator Terrell McKinney, put some respect on his name. Good morning, bro. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
Oh man,
All right, all right.
feeling like a Monday, even though it's a Friday. But we working it out.
Yeah, we hanging in there, man. But definitely appreciate you for joining us this morning on your busy schedule.
No problem, man. How y'all been?
Good man, good. Just grinding. We got some good words this week. We've been getting some good feedback from outside sources saying that we're doing some good work here, and everybody appreciates y'all coming on too. Because where can anybody really go see and go talk to some senators on an extensive basis? So really appreciate you guys taking that time to get up and do that and come through, man. So anyway, that's how we're doing. We kind of doing all right now. We're feeling good about the work we got going on, and feeling good about the work that you are part of too, man. We definitely have already been talking a little bit about that death penalty thing that you feel like needs to get revisited and some of these other things. So how are you doing, first of all, and what's going on with you and what's important in your life right now?
I'm doing good, man. I've just been trying to stay busy and trying to get some things done down in Lincoln and just trying to, just balance myself a lot better and
Yeah.
just try to enjoy life. But I don't know what's been going on. I guess this week was busy. I had a few bills yesterday. I had the death penalty bill. I had a bill to make some changes to the pardons board. That I had another bill to do a bunch of different changes in the criminal justice system, like give a 7-day grace period for missing court for like a traffic citation and things like that.
Mm.
Making sure courts consider, primary caregivers, getting rid of technical violations for parole and probation and stuff like that.
Okay.
The details.
Yeah. Definitely continuing that fight and that conversation. Kind of learning, you have your quote unquote your sexy bills and the bills, and then you kind of have things like criminal justice where people don't really too much want to touch. So I would definitely make sure that we're pushing and waving that flag for you to get some support on these bills. But what are some other things? We actually have this article that's kind of characterizing the second half of the legislative sessions. Some of the things that we should be looking out for. Are there some bills that either you are preparing on the back half of the sessions, or some other senators are preparing for that we should look out for?
Yeah, well, for me, my priority bill this year is LB 631. It would make some changes to the parole board, and
Okay.
I'm also trying to work on an amendment to add some other things into it to deal with some other criminal justice related issues. Also, I have another bill, LB 630, which got prioritized by the speaker, which would make our schools eventually, well, the Department of Education, create some rules around school grooming policies to avoid having kids getting a haircut and allowing kids to be able to go to school and wear their hair how they would like to. And for the case of like Native American students, allowing them to go to school and wear tribal regalia without feeling, like they're going to get in trouble or somebody's going to say something about it.
We were kind of just having that conversation before you came on as far as education. Speaking of the second half, we've seen a lot of bills dealing with education. Are there some things that you're looking out for as far as education, preparing to fight for as a senator, or that we should be aware of as far as education?
It's going to be a lot of big things around education. The school funding formula stuff is going to come up. The governor has this $1 billion plan for education that's going to come up. That the tax credit bill for scholarships is going to come back up. I forget what else is coming out of education. And then there's going to be a fight around them trying to ban the sports stuff around trans athletes. Um, it's a bunch, man. But the other issue is this year, I think there's going to be a lot of bills, well, a lot of packages than ever before this year because of how the session is going, and a lot of people are trying to get some things passed. So a lot of things will probably get combined, and it's going to be really interesting going down the stretch.
Yeah. Just as a senator, do you feel or get the sense that it's been like a organized effort, or some more thought has been put toward behind some of these education bills and what we're seeing as far as the fight over education?
Um, I think there is an effort, and it's like a national effort to do a lot of things around education. a lot of people want to control what schools are teaching and all this type of stuff. And I think it's a lot of national politics seeping into the legislature around these type of issues about what books kids are reading and all type of stuff that, honestly, it's my thing with a lot of it is, what are you scared of? What are you afraid of? I think if you read a book and you realize that your forefathers held slaves, I just don't understand it. Like, it's history. No matter how you try to hide it, it's there. You can't avoid it these days. It's not the 90s or the 80s where we don't have technology. So regardless of where you try to put that information, a kid can still get to it.
They're scared of what Donald Glover did on that Atlanta episode, where the descendants of the slave owners had to start paying the descendants of the slave.
Oh man, yeah, that episode's crazy.
I don't want to get called out that way. It's interesting that you're talking about this national thing, because we just did a story talking about Houston and the efforts that they're taking over the school district over there. And how a lot of things that happen down south, especially like Houston and North Carolina, and these places, sometimes happen, mimics what's going on here. I also saw an interview, Senator Kavanaugh, put some respect on her name, was on Rachel Maddow, one of those. Huh?
Killing it. She's been on a lot of stuff.
She's killing the game. I think there's some jealousy in. I watched the legislature a couple of days. I think there's a little jealousy going on with a couple of them senators. Like, why is she getting all this attention? But she was on there talking about that she doesn't believe that her colleagues in the legislature are trying to be racist and trying to be messed up towards people. They're just scared. And they're feeding into this national narrative, and I think that's the same national narrative that you're talking about when it comes. She's talking about the subject of education. They don't even see what's really happening in the state. They just are repeating this national narrative out of fear, and so that, to me, that ties into what you're saying. Like, why are you scared? What you scared of?
I think it's a lot of cognitive dissonance. And that's probably it. Although, I cool with a lot of my colleagues. I talk to everybody. I don't think I got any personal problems with everybody or anybody in there. But a lot of the stuff, I'm like, I just don't understand this. This just makes no sense to me. I try not to, the way I try to operate, and people may or may not like it, but I try to just operate on the issue to issue. Like, I don't try to get personal. I didn't go down there and try to be personal, but when the issue comes up, I'm going to address it. And if I agree with it, I'm going to tell you where I'm at. If I don't agree with it, I'm going to tell you where I'm at. And that's kind of where I've always been. And on a lot of this stuff, on the mic in hearings, I like, this just don't make no sense. Can you explain this to me?
Make it make sense.
The math ain't mathing.
No. And a lot of times you realize that even it's the people that are advocating for this stuff, not even the senators, they don't really realize what they're advocating for. Like, one day, this is when I was on the education committee, so somebody was testifying. It was like, I stand for the forefathers' value, the founding fathers' principles. So, like, after he got done, I was like, so you stand for the forefathers, the founding fathers' principles? He was like, yeah. I was like, so you stand for my ancestors being enslaved? And he just paused and just looked at me.
Oh, you put it like that.
Nah, he was probably thinking, yeah, that's what I said.
I said what I said. Man, that's heavy though. That's heavy. You actually kind of bring me to a question that I have that I feel like is a little bit of the elephant in the room. And this is something that I know is kind of near and dear to your heart, just based on the work that you put forth already. We're talking about education. We're talking about prison reform, but we haven't really talked about the middle, the preschool to prison pipeline. And I feel like that's where kind of all of this is going to, you know what I mean? You have a situation where education in the school is being controlled. It doesn't really seem like the student, is really at the forefront of these controlling decisions. You got more prisons being built, more beds, more facilities being built. We've already talked about you got to have a case to even get into some of these facilities and get some of these services. Can you kind of speak to, the preschool to prison pipeline, what that's looking like, and what we should be preparing for, or what you're seeing moving forward?
The preschool to prison pipeline is real. When you look at the data and you look at the suspension rates, over 50% of the kids being expelled are Black. And it's the issue. I brought a bill this year, LB 632, and I think it would ban, it would prohibit schools from suspending kids in pre-K and second grade.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people ask me like, oh, but what are we going to do if the kid is acting out and all these type of things? I'm like, we have to find alternatives. We can't just say, oh, we can't do nothing, so just let's suspend the kid. That's just ridiculous to me. I was a kid that was suspended in kindergarten and pre-K. Believe me, when I got suspended and went home, I went home and watched cartoons. I didn't go home and get disciplined the whole time. It just doesn't work. Like, honestly, like I went back to school and I was the same kid doing the same. I was suspended a lot. It's like you suspended me.
He was like, what? Cartoons and cereal?
Seriously though, like watching Arthur.
Chilling, yeah.
I think that bill, I think it has a chance to get into one of the many things going on in education this year. So I would hope that would get passed to kind of prohibit them from suspending pre-kindergarten and second graders. Because even when you look at the data, there's a drop off once they get to like third and fourth grade, as far as like the educational achievement gap. And I think it starts that early, because you start suspending these kids and you're basically grooming them their whole life. Like it's a downward trajectory. And then if we don't catch them, they get to high school and just fall off the map, fall into the streets or something, end up on the news, and then everybody want to throw their hands up like, oh, these kids are bad. I'm like, you started suspending them at 5. What do you think is going to happen? Like, you basically setting them up for failure. Like, outside, like, I'm not saying there isn't bad kids and kids don't mess up and kids don't cause issues in classroom. One, we need to lower our class sizes. That's a big issue. Because you got 30 kids in a class and 2 of them act out, it's going to disrupt the whole thing. We have to figure that out. But I just would never be for suspending kids like that.
Yeah,
that's funny when you say that. There's like 32 kids in the class. That's the size. The class sizes are around like 32.
Yeah.
It depends on where you at. It's bad right now.
Yeah.
The shortages.
I was gonna say, because when in California, when I was going to school, we had class sizes of 45 to 50, and they were saying the same thing. And this was in the 80s. They were saying the same thing. Like, there's too many kids in this class. We gotta pull folks out. And it seemed like they, by now, from my perspective, by now it seemed like they should have fixed that. But here we are, 2023, and there's still classrooms that got too many kids, not enough teachers, not enough attention given to individual kids.
Yeah, that was actually something I didn't really learn about until college, as far as the importance of the teacher to student ratio. And it became a main question that I asked, doing campus visits, like, what is the teacher to student ratio? Because you kind of see, like, especially when there's students in need. There's students who need special attention that they might not be getting at home, which is usually the cause of why, kids aren't just bad. They're usually going through something and need some help, and that's how they express themselves. And a lot of times it starts with the family. It starts with at home and trying to fix what's going on at home. And those are the resources that we should also be putting forth. I kind of lost my train of thought, but yeah.
And I think we got to figure out that balance, because I like a lot of conversations. A lot of people I've had and seen just overly blame the parents and the kids. And I'm not saying that it doesn't start at home, and parents are supposed to make sure their kids are going to school and doing the right thing. But at a certain point, everybody has a responsibility. We can't keep saying it's supposed to be a village, but then when we got this issue, just blame the parents and the kids. We can't eliminate the village out of that conversation, because we all have a role. If I'm a teacher, yes, I'm not the kid. No, I'm not the kid's parent, and I'm not, supposed to take on a role of a parent or the counselor or anybody. But a teacher is a role model and a mentor in a sense as well. And we have to figure out, okay, what is the role of a teacher in 2023? We have to figure that out because the world has evolved since we were kids, and the school system still hasn't modernized itself.
Interesting stuff, man. And let me jump in the chat real quick. Brother Knight is saying fastest way to hamper this prison to school pipeline is to fix the current state of black male-female relations. Definitely something that we agree
Family,
with.
man.
Family, man. It got to start with the family. The family needs support. He also says it isn't understood by us just how deep the ethos of white supremacy has penetrated our perceptions of each other. Very true. Marianne Williams says even crazier is suspending kids for skipping school. That's a reward for obtaining a desired goal. Word, you can go home and eat some Captain Crunch and watch some Robo Attack. I'm down.
I mean, if I leave, they tell me I can't come back.
Wait a minute. So what are you doing home? I can't go back. They told me. Amy Huffler says it's generational. It's all connected, poverty, etc. For sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Especially when white. Oh, okay. He's talking about white feminist influence and black female perception of black men. That's a whole nother subject we will get into. But yeah, this situation here, man, we appreciate all the work that you're doing as far as these bills when it comes to the school stuff is concerned. Is the education piece? It does start early, and nobody. I always felt like nobody is really paying too much attention to what's going on early. You know, you catch kids early. You know, so I just talked to somebody last night that reminded me about this whole idea that you pretty much are what your personality is going to be by 6 or 7 years old, and that's kind of, there's some things that get set around that time, and then the next big jump is middle school age. When you're 12, 13, you can go either way at that point too, and so there's some milestones in a kid's life that if you're not hitting them right at the time that you need to hit them, they can go whatever direction they are surrounded by. So, like I said, I appreciate that work that you're doing on that. I'm taking notes this time and writing down some of these bills and what these bills are for and what they're about, and all the stuff that you are pushing. I'm thinking that all these brothers around here, all of us that got these dreads, need to be really, really checking on LB 630, man. Everybody who got dreads needs to write a letter about this, about the hair and the dress code and all that. I mean, you know, we all got a personal stake in a lot of these bills that you're pushing right here, and it's the efforts to go ahead and write letters and go up and show up is still very strong in this, you know, to help what's going on. Because I mean, you kind of representing, man. You representing what it is that we are feeling and wanting and needing around here.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you're doing, and we got to help you do it. So. Just really appreciate that, man. Let us keep on telling us about some of these other bills and stuff that you got pushing, or stuff that other people got that you like as well. You're behind.
Well, one more that I have that made it out of committee was LB 53, which would create a state holiday for Malcolm X.
Yeah.
And I want to say first in history. I'll double check on that for that to hit the floor. I'll try to find a vehicle for it to try to get it passed either this year or next year. Since we're in a biennium, the bill, if it don't get passed, it still lays over and still could get passed next year because it'll still be on the floor. But I'm gonna try to find a pathway to get it passed.
What is?
Good.
I've just been kind of wondering about that. I haven't really been able to ask over the last couple of weeks. But kind of, what is your vision of that? You just want a day? Is it like what are your?
Just, you know, for us to be able to, you know, create a state holiday to celebrate his birthday, more so than anything, celebrate his legacy and educate the state about Malcolm and what he did and what he actually meant, and start chopping down all those misperceptions of him. And I think it's the best way to do it. And why not? You know, we celebrate a bunch of people who don't deserve to get celebrated every year.
Right.
He did some things that are commendable, no matter if you black or white.
Definitely.
And hopefully we get the day off. Captain Crunch and cartoons.
Message to the grassroots and cartoons.
Hey.
Yeah, that's what's up. Man, I had a good one. I lost it. I should have wrote it down.
But it's some other bills. Dang, I'm trying to think. Senator Wayne has that bill to end the 2-year waiting period for individuals with felonies to vote.
Nice.
It's on the floor.
I remember what it was. Go ahead.
I think Senator Hunt has a bill to end the SNAP drug ban. I think she prioritized it. I'll double check on that. Dang.
Man, there's a whole bunch about. Oh, that's for Snap. That's for Snap.
Yeah,
I was thinking of the.
I can't remember what else all got prioritized because it was just all so fast. I'll have to double check, but it's some good bills out there.
So here's what I just remember what I wanted to ask you about. Could you give us a little rundown? And I'm gonna probably ask you this frequently because I'm trying to get in my brain the process. So when you say this bill's on the floor, when you say this bill got through committee, sometimes I get lost in where that is. Can you explain the process of the bill?
So every bill goes to a certain committee. So for instance, the Malcolm X bill went to the government committee. I had to have a hearing on it, and then after the hearing, I had to convince enough senators on that committee to vote for it to put it onto the floor. Once it got voted to the floor, it goes to general file, and that's the first round of debate. You need 25 votes to make it past general file, but if somebody does a filibuster, you need 33 votes to break it. And then it moves on to select file. And that's you could take a vote on select, but you don't have to all the time. Some bills just get waived, basically, yay, move it forward. But if it's controversial, it's always going to take a vote. Then final reading is the final round of voting. And then after that, it goes to the governor, and the governor can either sign it or veto it. If he vetoes it, we got to come back, and then we have to override it with, I think, a 33 vote majority to override the governor. And that's the process. And then after a bill is passed, if it doesn't have like an emergency clause, I think it's like 90 days before it's law. But if it has an emergency clause, it happens kind of sooner than that.
Okay. So, could you repeat that, please? No, I'm just playing. This is like I said. This is something that I don't even know. I'm trying to think of some kind of infogram or something I can put together and make.
I'm just a bill.
Just put it up on the screen, man, so we can be like, where is it? Where is it in the process here? We got to figure it out because you guys are living that, but I have to ask every single time. It's just there's a lot of steps, and there's a lot of choose your own adventure book style stuff. Like if this, then go to page this, and if that happens, then 33 votes.
Oh
and,
man, I remember those books.
Yeah, yep. I love them books. But anyway, yeah, I sit here and try to take notes, and I still got to be like, what did I just write? I mean, it's a lot, and I want to stress that. I will stress that for myself, but also for the listeners, because like. You talk to your constituents. Your constituents say, "Hey, we're concerned about not being able to wear, not being able to go to school with what kind of hairstyle you want." And you say, "Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a bill together." Then you do all this work of putting this idea together, fleshing this idea out. Then it goes into this process of committee hearing, convincing the committee. If it's a general file, 25 votes, then you go through all these steps, and then how long, and then what's the time frame on those steps? Because that sounds like it's going to take a little while to get through.
It could be long. It's some bills that get on general file that are never heard on the floor, just because of the amount of bills and the time we have. Like right now, we have limited time to pass bills, so people are trying to figure out what do we do. Because honestly, a lot of it's possible some priority bills don't get passed this year because we have limited time, and which is why they're trying to break Senator Kavanaugh's filibuster and trying to find a compromise because it's basically hard at the session. Like I think yesterday was the first day we moved 3 bills forward in one day for the first time since I've been here. So it's crazy, and I think somebody was telling me this is like the first time in history that we haven't passed a bill yet.
Wow. So if you don't, that means that you have to wait till next year to introduce it again, right?
No, you don't have to reintroduce it. So if it's on general file, it just stays on the worksheet, or it stays on general file until next year, and then next year you can either prioritize it or hopefully at the beginning of the session when people aren't prioritizing bills, it just comes up right away and you could just take a vote on it without prioritizing it.
Article in that we pulled today for this show talked about basically a culture war going on in there.
Yep.
And I know it's a unicameral. They're not things are supposed to be bipartisan. You're not supposed to have no parties, but it's obvious that they're, we hear it all the time. Senator Kavanaugh gets on the mic and talks about the Republicans, so so you got this whole thing going on in there, this culture war and stuff happening, and then you think about when is the session done. So how much, because I'm trying to get into the strategy of this as well, and I'm thinking about what Senator Kavanaugh is doing, holding firm to the filibuster, but also what does that mean for the rest of the bills that everybody else is trying to get through. We were asking that the other day. Is it going to hold up 1024? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the strategy? What does the strategy do? So how does that work? When does the session end? And how do you guys compromise and still try to get bills in and do things when you got something like a filibuster going on?
So we have 90 days in the session. So I'm looking at the calendar. The 90th day of this session would be June 9th. So we have until then technically to try to get some things done, but that's super late. We've never went to June before since I've been here, but it's very likely possible this year the way it's going. We probably will be in session into June. I didn't even think about that. I thought it was just May, but wow, dang.
It's just kind of hitting home, huh? Yeah, they say the wheels of democracy turn slow, and you kind of see why. But it's important to understand and get to the bottom of how we get things done around here. If we're trying to get anything done, we gotta get it done and know the process to do so. And I'm sure there's some steps that we kind of skipped throughout all this breakdown. But thanks for giving us some insight.
Like I said, I ask you again. We're gonna come back to it.
Next time I might come with a sheet of paper like here.
Hey, okay. That might help. That actually might help.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna come with some kind of infogram graphic, man, that I can throw up on the screen so we can follow along as we go. It's 8:11 right now. If for those of you that are just joining us, if you believe in the concept of time, we're here with Brother Senator Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on his name. He's graciously given us some time and given us a civics lesson on what's going on inside the unicameral, inside the legislature right now too, so that we can get a better grasp of what's happening and why, and understand what's going on. It's almost like I got to have the playbook, the rule book when I'm watching my soap operas. When I, what I'm saying, like it's my stories. So I can find out who's doing what and why and all that stuff. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. If you guys have any questions in the chat, let us know. Brother Knight is saying, what is the primary motivation that moves bills faster?
It's a good question.
Sometimes it's who introduces a bill. Like sometimes if somebody introduces a bill and a few people don't like them, their bill is dead. Mm-hmm. If the governor wants it, that's a motivation. The speaker prioritizing it. It's a lot of factors. I can't say it's just one. It depends on the issue as well, because some issues, if it's super controversial, might not move fast enough. But if it's something simple, it could just go straight through right away. But the way this has been going this year, everything has been slowed down. So it hasn't mattered whether a bill is something that was super simple that just should be passed. Like everything is being filibustered.
Why is that?
Is that the nature of the of the bills? Like all the bills are controversial?
No, they're not controversial. Senator Kavanaugh, Michaela Kavanaugh, she's just been for what 3 weeks, almost a month, and it paused yesterday. I think she paused yesterday because I think she reached some type of understanding with the speaker,
right?
But that's why, honestly, the filibuster about them and all these crazy bills, that's what's kind of slowed everything down.
I also saw an article. There was somebody on the other side. I'll just say that since there ain't supposed to be no partisan. They were talking. They seceded on one of these issues. The abortion ban, or the abortion ban they were trying to put together was like 6 weeks, and then so this senator came back and was like, "Okay, fine, Kavanaugh, fine, 12 weeks then." Mm-hmm. Could you speak on that situation a little bit?
Oh, that's a mess right now. I I ain't really been too deep in those conversations. Cause I just kind of just told everybody like I don't support the bill, like, but I've been trying to work out all this other stuff with 531 and all the craziness around that. I haven't engaged too much on that issue, but I know it's a mess. It's gonna be interesting to see if that even gets passed right now.
Yeah, man. I'm anxious to see what's going on. I'll definitely keep on posting the legislature on Friends of First Sky Omaha because it's my favorite soap opera right now. Could you remind me of what 531 is, Bill?
So LB 531 is the bill dealing with the recommendations and everything out of LB 1024 and the coordination. I actually introduced the amendment for 531 and 785 yesterday. And what the amendment does, it directs the Department of Economic Development when considering applicants, they have to consider everybody that was included in the coordination plan and the appendixes. Basically, if you apply to OSIN, you can reapply to DED. It also sets aside 20 million for a museum and a qualified census tract named after somebody in the Nebraska Hall of Fame. It also sets aside another 20 for federally qualified health centers in the metropolitan class city, which is Omaha. It also sets aside money for a program manager to help monitor and manage the projects and make sure everything goes okay. And that's it.
All right. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. Just jumping into the chat real quick. Appreciate that question, Brother Knight. He also says, Blacky Black says, thank you, Senator, for that information. Really appreciate that. Does public pressure work? Brother Knight is asking, how about public pressure on some of these bills?
I think public pressure works. I think it's people lately. It's been deep in the rotunda, in the balcony. A lot of people just been down there trying to lobby senators and trying to get them to push this way or that way on the issue. I think public pressure works. I just think it can't be cookie cutter though. Because if like say 20 people walk up to you, all those 20 people say the same thing, you can be like, okay, like what is this? But if people walk up to you and each has a different point of why you should be supporting or not supporting something, that's different. It hits something different.
I guess when you think about it like that, it's a difference between having a bunch of points as to why something works versus one kind of like you said, cookie cutter boilerplate point that everybody is pushing. Okay, that puts it in perspective.
Yeah, I mean that jives with what we've been talking about this whole time. We've learned from you guys that personal experiences, going up and talking about your personal experience, is the best motivator for things to move there in the minds of other senators sometimes. So we'll keep on trying to push that, man. Push up people writing letters and coming down and supporting some of this stuff. We appreciate you. Most shows will have you guys on one time and talk about some stuff and keep it moving, but we got to keep on having you back. Because this is a process that we gotta repeat and keep learning and keep adding to the knowledge. So I appreciate everybody that's following this, and I appreciate you guys coming on and giving us more information on this stuff. I know you got to get going here, so I'm gonna let you go here pretty soon. I just want to reach into the chat one more time. Marianne Williams, who's been contributing a lot to Friends of First Sky Omaha lately, says, How long is Senator Aguilar expected to be out? A lot of strategy around Aguilar's absence. You got any information on that?
From what I know, I don't know. I think it's undetermined right now. I'm not sure. I hope he heals up and all is well and he can make it back. Honestly, no matter what side of like he might be on, he's always been a cool dude and a good person. So I hope everything is well and he heals up, because last year we lost a colleague, Senator Pauls. So although we have politics, it's a human part to this too. So I wish him the best and hope he heal up.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, beautiful.
We'll leave it on that positive note, man. Really appreciate you coming through, bro. Once again, just can't tell you how invaluable this is to us, that you come on to help us understand these things. It's really gonna fire some folks up, bro. For real, it's firing me up. That's real. Yeah, appreciate you, man.
And thank y'all and keep killing it. And I'll see y'all next week.
Sounds good.
Appreciate you. Take care.
Peace. All right, everybody's thanking Senator McKinney. Good job, Senator McKinney. Y'all are amazing. Appreciate everybody that's jumped in, man, and is giving props. Hit the like on Ariel's 402. Please, please, please do that. Kimra Snipes and Gwen Easter came in this morning and said good morning to us. Good morning to y'all.
Hey.
Appreciate you. Facebook and YouTube. Share the show. Larry Keister says, thank you for all your continued hard work. It's appreciated. He definitely comes back and talks about and it comes back and checks out the show again. Then I appreciate you guys putting that in the chat for him to check it out. We'll take a quick break and come right back. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners, legislators. It's going down. Stay tuned.
Hey.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Welcome back. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners. Appreciate everybody that's joined into the chat. Really appreciate everybody on Facebook and YouTube.
Hey.
Hit that like button, man. We're still trying to reach that 200 in YouTube. Subscribe, hit the like button, and keep on telling a friend, telling a friend, telling a friend. Share the show, share the show, share the show. Got to get as many people in as we can. Share the show with people who you think will enjoy the show, who you think will contribute to the show in a positive way. Would love to have some more voices in here as well, and more people learning too, man. Share it just so they can get some of this good civics lessons that this brother senators are laying on us when they come through. So again, really appreciate. We got to find out what happened with Brother Wayne. I haven't heard anything from him. Hope he's okay. But really appreciate Brother McKinney coming through, and appreciate all your questions for him too. Great questions today. Trying to find out what's up. Did you guys learn anything? Did you is this something? Did you reinforce anything that you already knew? Let us know. Express yourself in the chat. I'd like to know. I definitely took some notes this time on this process, man. And like I said, even after he got done saying it, I couldn't type fast enough. I was like, can you repeat that, please? Because lots going on, man, and just to understand like where things are in the process. Interesting stuff. How stuff hits the floor, committees, how many committees you got to go through, how many hearings, how many votes you need in order to get something going, and then after all those processes, it gets down to the governor, and the governor got to sign off on it. And if the governor doesn't sign off on it, whole new process, whole new vote. So you can see why this stuff takes a long time. And then if something happens like what's been happening this last 3 weeks with the filibuster, it might be next year before any of these things happen. So, that says something about term limits as well. Excuse me. When you're, if you're in the legislature for a certain amount of time, sometimes you can be there the whole time and something not get passed. Sounds like me.
Or have to get term limited right before you reach that finish line, which I'm sure has been the case several times. So that's a good point. That's a good point as far as just how this thing works. But again, we're going to continue to educate ourselves and get to the bottom of it if we want to know how things get done around here. I mean, isn't that the ultimate question? How do things get done around here? And it seems like too often things are getting done without us. So we're making it our business to find out what's really going on, man. So definitely appreciate the senators for breaking things down to us and taking time out of their busy schedule to speak with us. And big shout out to all of you for continuing to ask the good questions, man, and getting good information that we might not be thinking about. So definitely thank you. We call you our co-host for a reason. So yeah,
There you go.
definitely love it. Appreciate you. Just about 30 minutes left in the show, Paul. What's the word, man? What you thinking?
Man, we definitely gonna jump into a couple something else that we've been looking at here. But before we do that, I just want to let people know about this concert that's happening tonight. This is Benson Theater's first collaboration with our African community.
Man,
There is a big African community in North Omaha, in all parts of Omaha, actually. But my man Kusher Snazzy has a show coming up, Afro Vibe Master Concert 2023. Saw him practicing the other day with his dancers, and I'm like, man, this is more Michael Jackson in the dance and some Janet Jackson skit stuff going on.
okay, control.
Yeah, bro, like it's gonna be hot, and he keeps on adding more performers to come on as well. So if you guys have ever been to like Afro Omaha, man, and been out at Stinson Park when it was going down, and you see all these performers that come up, sing, dance, DJ. It's going to be that kind of extravaganza happening tonight. This is going down tonight, tomorrow night, March 18th, from 7 to 10. Definitely the tickets are going fast on that. So go to bensontheater.org and get your tickets and check it out. I'm so proud of the fact that we have, some of our African brothers and sisters coming in and doing some things in the theater, man. That's what it's made for. So I just can't wait to see that mix of things happening when this goes down. So we'll talk about that more in the Haps that's coming up later on in the show. But just wanted to make sure that we let people know that was going on. That's the next thing coming up as far as something to support. But definitely check that out because, it's a thing. It's a thing. Like we want to support all of our brothers doing. And trust me, these African cats out here, man, they are some serious entertainers. They put on some serious shows. And we'll definitely talk about it. So appreciate that. Appreciate you guys let me promote that a little bit. And like I say, we'll talk about that a little bit more in the Haps. In the chat, Brooke says, good morning. Good morning to you. Appreciate it. Rick Fulton says, I like Senator McKinney's bills to address affordable housing and Mr. Wayne bill to help inmates transition.
Man.
Yeah, they got some good bills out, man. I appreciate the kind of work that they're doing for sure. Tough Anderson says term limits was enacted because of Senator Chambers. Yes, remind us all about that. Now it's being realized the negative impact just to get rid of one person.
Yep. Now they're trying to backstep and backtrack and get it right. But
on the other hand, I'm glad when some folks is leaving.
That's true.
To have an opportunity for some folks to get out when they need to, when you want them to be gone. I can't imagine having I don't even know, a Donald Trump or somebody like that that's just in there for as long as Ernie Chambers was. Can you imagine the damage over time?
Yeah, I mean, another thing is judges. We got to look at, some of the terms for these judges too, but that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah. But yeah, man. And
also, real quick, the secession is also super, super important. So we know that Brother Wayne is leaving, and we're already you're already talking about who else is going to run, who else can kind of pick up the torch and keep rolling on some of the stuff that he got started that is not going to finish out by the time his term is up. So that's why it's really important to keep on talking to folks and grooming folks and getting people interested in the situation and hooking it up. We keep on every time he comes on. It's like, well, who's your successor? Who do you got? We ask Precious and them that every time too, and they say they got some people. They got some people they're thinking about going ahead and running and doing that. But it's very, very important, especially with the term limits, just to make sure you have a successor plan.
Yeah, look at Senator McKinney and Senator Chambers. Like it definitely keeps the makeup going. So definitely big shout out to all the senators out there doing the good work. As we kind of wrap up again in the back half of this show, really the last quarter, doing a wrap up and look at some of the other bills that, again, we should be looking out for. We've been kind of mentioning it. The Omaha World Herald is reporting on this culture war that's kind of continuing to bubble in the state's capital. And there are several bills that we should be looking out for. Of course, the one of the main bills, especially as we prepare for 2024 and getting for the next presidential election, is the voter ID bill, which still is on the floor, still expected to go through series of debate. So that's definitely something we should be looking out for. Looking for the exact bill number Yep, LB 535. LB 535, which has been prioritized by the Government, Military, and Veterans Affairs Committee, will implement the constitutional amendment passed by voters last year, again, to require photographic identification for voting. Appellant's tax and school aid proposals could be contentious as well, as Senator McKinney kind of laid out for us. But again, 535 is something we should definitely be looking out for and keeping on top of mind, especially, again, 2024, man, we're going to see the impacts of that as soon as next year as we prepare to vote for our next president. So we'll definitely look to see how that works out. Other bills to keep on top of mind, also LB 575, which is a very contentious bill and could, again, affect how our students, are moving and how our schools are kind of set up. Again, LB 575 will require transgender youth to play school sports and use bathrooms that match their gender at birth. And again, the sex standards and how sex is viewed, gender is viewed and taught in schools is definitely a contentious point throughout the state. Again, if you remember, I think a year or two ago, the state tried to change and update, really, its sex education standards, and that caused a lot of backlash. And you have to understand that that's kind of the context behind this bill, LB 575, which was prioritized by Senator Rob Clements of Elmwood, Nebraska. So and that's another one to look out for. Also, similar to what we saw in South Carolina, LB 810 would allow healthcare professionals and institutions to deny care to people if the care violates their ethical, moral, or religious beliefs. Of course, that deals with the transgender gender transforming surgery, but also abortion and really any other area that we might be concerned about. Again, any care that violates the health professional's ethical, moral, or religious beliefs, especially that religious beliefs aspect, that could be a very, very wide array of things. So that's definitely a bill we should be looking out for. Again, LB 810 will dictate whether or not doctors can deny care based on their religious, moral, or ethical beliefs.
And this is the one that's being filibustered right now.
LB 810?
Yeah.
I don't think that one, I believe, is LB 575, or is one dealing with abortion or transgender rights. I don't think it's 810. I'm not sure exactly which one Kavanaugh is filibustering. Okay,
I'll look it up. Right on. Okay, some bills to look forward to, and because this is again under this whole discussion about this kind of culture war that's going on inside of the legislature right now, right?
Correct. And that's just a few. There's actually several other bills. There's another one that we might be interested in, LB 327, which was presented by Senator Jane Raybould of Lincoln, would carve out exceptions to the voter-approved minimum wage increases. So again, voters approved to raise this minimum wage to $15, but under this bill, there could be some exceptions, could be some red tape, more hoops to jump through in order to qualify for that minimum wage. So that's something we should be looking out for as well. Again, that's LB 327, which would carve out exceptions to the voter-approved minimum wage increase. So
right on. Let me put it out there to the chat. Those of you that are following these bills and understanding some things about them, what are some of the ones that are standing out in your minds that should be looked at here too? Like I said, this is under this article. Where was the article from? Omaha World
This is the Omaha World Herald. Omaha World Herald is reporting and again characterizing the second half of the state's legislative sessions as, culture wars, taxes, and minimum wage on tap.
Got it. Okay. So that situation was the bills that we're talking about here for these things are the ones that we have been talking about. I think is important. Hopefully, same thing with and let us know those of you that are keeping track of these things too. Which bills are top of mind for you, are important, are the ones that you have that you've supported or fought that are still out there in one of these areas of one of these stages on the committee, on the floor, or wherever they're at. Let us know if what are some of the other ones. I'm going to put that out to the chat because we've been asking the senators and we've been trying to look at some stuff ourselves. But you tell us, like, which, let us know too which ones. I saw Marianne Williams had put some things in Friends of First Sky Omaha several times with talking about the importance of certain bills that are coming up and what the date was that they were going to discuss it. So that's kind of what I'm looking for more too. I appreciate that, and I hope that that more of the chat chimers can let us know on those things. Which ones that's kind of why we're here, because we got this show. We put this thing together so that we can talk to you, the people in our neighborhoods and the people in our community that about the subjects that we think that you guys think is important, that we think is important for us in our situations. This is a perfect opportunity for us to be able to talk about those things if we can bring up and do a little research ourselves on which bills that we feel like are important and what we want to back or what we want to fight. Marianne Williams is saying sub-minimum wage for young people who need way more money than we did when we were young is wrong. Cars, insurance, college, and some help their parents too. So that sub-minimum wage bill, is that the one? I wonder if that's the one you're talking about with the LB 327.
Yeah. Yep, LB 327, which actually Marianne Williams shared. There's a rally for that. There's information in Friends of in solidarity with low-paid workers against legislation that devalues our labor. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. at the state capitol on the north side, there will be signs and speakers, a rally in opposition of LB 327.
I'm taking notes too, Kimmer. I'm following your lead on that. Over here taking notes this time.
Yeah.
So yeah, appreciate that. That's what I mean. So there's there's some action behind. There's a rally tomorrow for that bill. There's some action behind it. People getting together because they see that this bill is important. They want to help fight it. This is something that they want to stand in solidarity with low paid workers. And that's what I'm talking about. That's the action that we're talking about right here is finding out what's going on with those bills, understanding those bills, talking to your neighbors about those bills, and y'all getting together, rallying up and coming through to fight those bills. So here this is what's happening. This is a HAPS. We're already into the HAPS right now. March 18th, 1 p.m. State Capitol North Side. So they're telling you exactly where to go and exactly what is going on with the bill. LB 327 would create a sub minimum wage for age. I mean, the minimum wage ain't even enough, and they trying to do sub minimum wage for 14 to 17-year-old. Why would they even work, bro? Why would you even do that?
And I tell you, man,
eat Captain Crunch and watch cartoons, because why would you even go out and work for what, $6 an hour or something crazy? Like what are they?
So I remember hearing about this report, and the ideology behind it, that senators are using is basically that, it's from privilege. You got to know it's from a place of privilege, because they're looking at it as, you're 14, you're young, you don't have any responsibilities, you're probably going to buy shoes, not knowing that there's some 14-year-olds who are paying bills. There's some 14-year-olds who are helping put food on the table. You know what I mean? So to take that away from these children, who unfortunately have to help provide for the family and have to, even if they're not providing for the family, they're providing for themselves. I remember when I was 14, 15 working at Burger King, mom couldn't afford to, buy me all the nicest clothes, couldn't afford to keep gas in my car, couldn't afford to, beyond paying the bills and keeping the necessities taken care of. There's not much more that she could do, which is understandable. You know what I mean? So to take that ability from kids, to kind of add to the household.
And you gotta think. My next question is like, why? So the why are you? If that's your reasoning, why would you even come to that reasoning in the first place? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, why isn't it better for your child or whoever's child to have more money in their job? It doesn't like what? Who is it benefiting that the minimum wage is going to be lowered? It's benefiting the companies. You can't. There's no way to get around that politicians that are pushing for this they must be in league with business and companies that want to pay less And so because who's keeping the money if you're not paying a kid minimum wage, who's keeping that gap? Who's keeping that money? The company's keeping that money. Who else is keeping the money? Like why would a politician be like, yeah, we should make it so that the companies don't have to pay full minimum wage for these kids? Why not? Like why would you be like that? Why if I'm a legislator, I'm going to be like, yeah, Walmart needs to go ahead and pay the minimum wage. Why pay less?
Unless you own Walmart.
Unless you have a stake in Walmart.
Which Marianne Williams, she laying it out. She said, Senator, man, you don't even know you're on point. She said, Senator Raybould is a Dem, but owns the Russ's and Super Saver groceries chain. She owns Super Saver. Marianne says grocery store employs a lot of young people. That's facts. A lot of minimum wage workers working in grocery stores. Paul, man. That's why this show's interesting, man. It's like, I see what you did there.
Yeah, man. And blatant with it.
There it is.
Blatant with it. I'm like, that's the thing that kills me. Raybould, let me ask you a question. Do you have any vested interest in any businesses that pay young people? Well, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sit down.
Interesting that you don't want to pay them minimum wage, which ain't enough in the first place to do nothing. Tough Anderson says many kids are working to help their families stay afloat. Bro.
Yeah, especially if the parents are barely making minimum wage. Come on, man. The math ain't mathing. The math ain't. My oldest is 7, and I'm about ready for him to get a job.
Hey, we an S corp now. You can pay him $14,000 a year. we learning about the tricks of the trade.
Hey, keep that low.
Yeah, that don't need to be low. People need to understand that. That's why they're doing what they're doing, because they know the game.
Facts.
They know the game. They know how to keep their people paid. They know they don't care nothing about. The more money they can keep in their pocket, the more. If you're a corporation like Super Saver, if you're a corporation, you own that. You own Super Saver. Say you own that franchise. You own that chain of stores. Then you're a corporation, and you're probably paying your 9-year-old $14,000 a year because you can't with S corp. But in order for you to have that extra $14,000, you got to shortchange everybody who's working at the damn store in the first place.
Hello.
Them kids got to be at $8 an hour for your kid to make that $14 a year. Anywho, don't get me fired up about it.
Hey man, hey. Go.
There's still people out here, man, that are working like in food service industry, making $2.14 an hour. Because they're like, because you get tips. Like I'm also a business owner, so I know it's hard to come up with the money to pay your people. But like, why would you even be in business if you can't? Why would you start a business that you know you're only gonna pay somebody $2.14 an hour in? Why would you even get into that business in the first place? Rick Fulton says, "Will you ask Miss Snipes why Veta Jeffrey is out at the Omaha Chamber?" You can ask her. Just like I said, man, use the chat as if you're speaking directly to people. She's probably in the chat. Ask her, and let's talk to each other like we would talk face to face. Appreciate that. Pop says, "I know when I was 9 years old, working 8 hours a day during the summer, every penny I earned went to my parents. I never spent any of it for myself."
Yeah, I mean that's why summers exist. That's why summers exist. The summer break was for children to go back to the farm to work during the summer.
Come on, bro.
That's why there's a summer break, so kids can work to help provide for their families. Like, young people have to be industrious too.
I remember talking about this subject before. Mayor Sanchez was always very much like, I am for kids working if they can work.
Man,
you don't want to put too much on them. But at the same time, treat them like, I mean, think about that. Think about the reasoning behind kids that's living with their parents. That sounds to me like men going, well, wives are living with their husbands. They don't need as much money.
Nah, man. See, you gotta be wary. We already been through this period in America. You gotta be wary when lawmakers start talking about we need to not pay people for work. We already been through that period. We already did that. People need to get paid. And it's very interesting, man. All jokes aside, you kind of see it whittling away, man. There's like old people ain't getting paid. There's barely any Social Security. They don't want young people to get paid. Pretty soon they gonna stop everybody. Hey, there's AI now. We don't need you either. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on, man? Where's the money? How can we live? How can we provide for ourselves?
That's a good question. It's a trip to me that there has to be a minimum wage in the first place. That there's a law out there that says you can't pay people below a certain amount, because you know why? Because back in the day, corporate companies and corporations were paying people pennies because they could,
literally,
and they had to make a law that said you can't go below this amount. And it's still what and think about that. Think about it's not a living wage.
No,
they're not talking about a living wage at all. Where's the arbitrary, $14 or what is the minimum wage? Is something like $10 an hour or something, right? $9.50 or something like that right now.
Yeah.
Where is the arbitrary number coming from in the first place? Why would you think $9.50? It's obviously coming from them doing their own books. Like, this is what we can afford. This is what we should pay them so we can make these kinds of profits. Like, where is that number even coming from? And the fact that we got to have all this legislation to get it up to 15, and it's going to take two. And they passed the thing. Now people are trying to slide stuff in there to circumvent this thing, which is what LB 327 is about. So they still have to debate and still got to go through all this stuff because, and even though that bill got passed and raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour, it's not going to happen until 2025 or 26.
Basically.
So they're incrementally raising it up each year until it gets to $15 an hour 3 years from now. And that's not counting for any inflation that's going to happen between now and then or anything. So where does these arbitrary numbers coming from, bro?
The math ain't mathing. I don't know how many times I got to say it. It's not mathing.
This is why kids like us be out here slanging shirts and you know what I'm saying? Like,
man,
it don't make the math ain't mathing. It don't make any sense to go get a job somewhere like that. They wonder why nobody's working at these fast food restaurants. They wonder why they got a shortage of workers when it comes to the food industry right now. Why after the pandemic people decided they ain't coming back to this BS? Because they ain't making no money. They could do well enough on their own at home side hustling something than to go get a job somewhere. So now you're complaining nobody wants to work.
It's definitely getting to that.
But who wants to work for that? Who wants to work for that kind of money? Stewart and Brother Knight said human greed fundamentally drives efforts to keep wages low. Come on, man. Straight up. Bon Chapman says yet another reason that affordable housing will not be affordable for those who need affordable housing the most. They will never be able to afford it. So how is it affordable? Brother Knight said, plus Western ideology believes people who work for a living are lesser people. Even though the whole thing is built on like Puritan values of if you don't work, then you're some kind of sinner.
Oh man, that's the carrot on the stick, bro.
Marianne Williams says one senator, not Ray Bowles, said if they want to work, they'll accept the wages offered, and that's a look into the big picture. Want a job, work for peanuts. And if you don't want that job, then you must be some kind of criminal. That's their attitude. I reject the premise. They can keep all that.
Man.
And with that, we're gonna take a break because I need to calm down. I'm fired up.
Yeah. Step off our soapbox for a second. Snip the coffee beans. Come back. Just about 10 minutes left in the show. Getting close to the end, man. It is Friday, so let's finally try to leave some ample time for the haps, man. I appreciate everybody for joining the conversation. Pop's coming in with the confirmation Nebraska minimum wage is $10.50. Not enough. Not cutting it, boss.
Be right back. Stay tuned. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the DS.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Ghost listeners, chat chimers, appreciate you. 50 years of hip hop. Definitely go check out a hip hop album sometime today, sometime this week. Tell me what hip hop album you're going to listen to this weekend.
Hey.
Reach back, man. Go back too, like in the beginnings, in the golden age and all that.
Do your homework.
Love to hear it. Zane says he loves you, Uncle Paul. Love you too, buddy. That's my
dude.
Buddy. The dude. I'll see you Sunday, man. Be hanging out. Marianne Williams. Yeah, you guys are talking to each other. That's great. Appreciate that very much. Student Brother Knight says it's hard to buy toothpaste with $10.50 an hour. Man, it's hard to pay attention. Tell you. Like Brother Chapman always says, it's hard to pay attention with
all right.
Tough Anderson, affordable housing is just a new tag for those in power developers to get funding for their housing projects.
Oh yeah.
There it is. So you can see what's important here. We got some things we think is important. Next step, call our senators, call our people and say, this is what we want. We're tired of this. They say, okay, cool. Let me sit down and write a bill and put it out there. Then they go through this whole process to try to get something in the law so we can do that. And then we support them along the way. And then hopefully we vote people in that will say yes to some of the things that we're talking about, which is, how about we have a living wage?
Man, that part.
How about instead of reading the newspaper about every new helicopter the police department is buying, we have a living wage for people. Yeah.
Resources for families. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that would very much be nice. Programs that are out there that have been historically for certain people. Why don't those programs continue so that they, other people can buy land, houses, start businesses, so on and so forth. Like, do what needs to be done, and or how about just some financial literacy in the first place? How about all this money that goes to schools goes to teaching people how to live and survive and make money and do what they got to do?
It'd be too easy, man. Be too easy.
I mean, then the family fair won't be able to hire a $6 an hour kid. How much was them kids making at the chop house when they just got busted for having all this child labor and stuff over there?
Oh man, yeah, working overnights at the meat packing plant.
Come on, man. Probably for $9 an hour.
Yeah, if that.
But if they don't want the job, don't take it.
Sounds like eat cake to me.
Thanks for joining us again. It is 8:52 right now in Omaha, Nebraska. If you believe in the concept of time, we don't believe in the concept of time, but we do believe in the concept of agreements, and we're going to try to stick to that. We're going to be done by 9. We'll see. Von Chapman says affordable housing is only temporary and just long enough to meet minimum qualifications for TIF funding.
Yeah.
Some of the things that we've been talking about here on this show now for 2 years. We're 2 years in on this show, and this has been reoccurring themes. Has anything gotten better? Right now, we're on the verge of what? We're on the verge of some millions of dollars coming into North to South Omaha, thanks to what the senators have been working on. Still got to go through all the processes that it has to go through to get here. And if it gets here, who's it going to, and is that going to upgrade some of the things that's happening? And it's funny, like they started this process about 2 years ago. So, we're right along with finding out whether or not there's going to be some kind of economic development and upgrade of North and South Omaha, of the black community here, of everybody, of people of color in Nebraska. We'll see. We will see. But man, are they fighting it all along the way? Man,
oh yeah, it's definitely an uphill battle. But we're gonna keep on climbing.
I hope they do build a lake out west. I'm gonna go out there and never mind. Ladies and gentlemen, time for the haps.
What's the haps? What's happening? What's going down?
That's right. Time for the haps. What's going down, ladies and gentlemen? It is the weekend, so there is a few things that we want to talk about that's going down, and we want you to give us your ideas about what's happening this weekend. That's very important that we need to check out as well. In the meantime, between time, I definitely want to give Kusher Snazzy some more time on the air today. Afro Vibe Master Concert 2023 is happening tomorrow night. As you can see, I think the VIP tickets are all sold. There might be a couple more left. So if you want to check them out, go to bensontheater.org and get you a ticket. Check out what's going on with Afro Vibe. It's going to be a serious concert. Lights, sounds, dancers, entertainment on a high level. I got to see some of the practices, and I'm very impressed. Can't wait for this show to go down. The first time that we're finally, the Benson Theater, finally partnering with our African brothers and sisters in the building. So I'm just too excited about this. It's going to be something else.
I meant to mention earlier, doesn't Omaha still have like the largest South Sudanese community outside of South Sudan or something like that?
I think we're neck and neck with Minneapolis, but yeah. We have huge refugee situation here with our brothers from Africa. So most definitely, as a matter of fact, Afro Omaha is a huge organization. They branched off and doing a whole bunch of stuff right now, man. As a matter of fact, they got a couple things going. They're killing it. Here's one that's going on right now. African Fashion Week is happening this weekend as well. So March 24th, that is Friday, March 24th. And here's one where you can meet the designers. They got a couple of different events going on. This one is on the 25th. So this is a couple day event that's happening. African Fashion Week, Omaha, March 25th. This one is at the Leo Ballroom, 2027 Dodge Street in Omaha. They're finding places that I don't even know about. But look at all the sponsors that they got down at the bottom of this flyer as well. So they've been really connecting with people and putting some serious things on, serious business folks, and serious fashion that happens here too, man. You talking about some beauty.
Man.
Go check out what's going on with African Fashion Week. Afro Omaha gets down. And of course, they got their runway show on Sunday, the 26th of March. So definitely check that out. It's 2 to 4 at Modus Co-working, another spot I haven't been to yet. They just are finding spots and getting down, man. So really shout out to Afro Omaha for doing all this work. They have several events a year during the year, and highly entertaining, these shows are excellent shows. Excellent. Man. From top to bottom, light, sound, presentation, the fashion, the models, unbelievable stuff. So really appreciate that. Top notch. Women's March happening. Precious was telling us about this March 18th, 1 to 3, Ald Pavilion at Antelope Park out in Lincoln. Purchase lunch from Mary Ellen's food truck. There'll be food out there as well. So Women's March going down, man. Shout out to Precious McKesson. Put some respect on her name for joining in with these ladies, these powerful ladies that are going to get down on the march, man. Get your march on March 18th, 1 to 3. That is tomorrow out in Lincoln. So definitely hit up Precious. If you are talking about going, you can always hit Precious up and say, hey, I'm trying to get down with this. Let me know, give me the steps. Where do we go? What do we do? And Precious will be happy to let you know more information on that. But yeah, check out the Women's March 18th. This is tomorrow at 1 to 3, from 1 to 3. And it sounds like lunch as well. Definitely check it out and be amongst these powerful women doing their thing.
Man, getting down. Also, while you're out in Lincoln, if you make it out there tomorrow, be sure to stop through the rally. Again, in opposition of LB 327. Big shout out to Marianne Williams for bringing this to our attention. Again, this is in solidarity with low paid workers, and it's a lot. I'm sure a lot of us out here. I'm sure a lot of us in the chat are some of these low paid workers, man. So let's step up in solidarity together to make sure that there is at least some semblance, a little step closer. Maybe not quite meeting the mark, but a step closer to a livable wage, man. So definitely big shout out to everybody organizing this. And if you can make it out to Lincoln, as Marianne Williams says in the chat, try to make it to both.
There you go. Appreciate that. Appreciate you being in the chat as well. Marianne Williams says, unfortunate the Women's March and the minimum wage rallies are at the same day, same time.
Yeah.
That's why we're also here too, man. We really want to try to connect folks and maybe put some coordination behind some of these things, so both of those things can get done. But yeah, try to make both if you can. It'd be a good thing. I'm glad that you mentioned that she was in the chat there. She's being held in areas close together, which is good.
Yeah,
kind of hop to both.
There you go.
But just jumping back into the chat real quick, there's a lot of stuff going on in the chat. I want to make mention. Brother Nice says supply and demand translates into I demand more of what you earn and supply myself with my children with more wealth. Right. Steph Anderson says stop shopping at Senator Raybould stores.
There you go. I think Super Saver.
We'll look into it. We'll see what's up. We'll look into it. Brother Knight also says, although capitalism is a good economic system, the avarice of people who run it. Lot to dissect on that comment there on a bunch of different ways. I don't know how I feel about capitalism no more, to be honest. Somebody got to get stepped on,
man. Yeah.
one way or another. That's just how it works. Ariel's 402 says, debt steals your future to pay for someone else's. Get yourself out of debt. That's the first move in your economic life. Get yourself out of debt. Kimmer Snipe says, I'm glad you said it because I have been actively not watching the chat. I don't know why. I'm asking questions to figure it out. All I can do is speculate. Brianna Full has given us a hap. She says Sunday Soul March 19th from 6 to 9 for free. 1715 Izzard Street. My band will be performing. Ty Lynn is also performing. Brianna Full, you got a band?
Yeah, she told us she sang a little bit. She mentioned it. She kind of mentioned it a little bit. We gave her a hard time on it. Yeah,
she sang a little bit, but I know she had a band. I don't know.
Yeah. She mentioned it. So
and Ty Lynn too. That's what's up. Okay.
It sound like a shindig.
Sunday Soul March. I heard that. Marianne Williams says, unfortunate the women's. Oh, sure, we already talked about that. Marianne Williams says Raybold owns Russ's Market chain too. I don't even know nothing about Russ's Market chain. What's Russ?
Yeah. Is that out in Lincoln? Yeah, is that out in Lincoln?
Yeah, there you go. Von Chapman says, again, capitalism needs victims to succeed, right?
Yes.
Capitalism induces ingenuity and creativity, which is good. Some good things about it.
Yeah.
Competition sometimes can be good. That's part of it too.
But does it mean justify the ends?
And like Von Chapman says, again, capitalism needs victims to succeed. Who's going to be the victim? So that's the questions, man. It's 9:01 right now. I had some more haps I wanted to jump into. I am going to jump into this one because I've been talking to Brother M.I. Yah for a minute. M.I. Yah runs Heartland News, and he put this thing together called the Heartland News Justice Committee. Is hosting a demand for body cams town hall meeting coming up. That's at North High. Friday, March 17th, 2023. So that is today, from 4 to 6. He's kind of demanding, apparently there's some things that have gone down and body cam footage was turned off. Situations that happened with him. Also, there's been a issue of getting body cam footage for incidents that's happened. They will hold on to it for a long time or don't show some of it. And he's saying we got to have a demand for body cams to see what's going on with the police. So I would say check this out. This is a story that we've been talking to him about and following a little bit, and we will have him on the show and talk about what happened with him and his situation and what he's trying to do about it. So this would be a good time if you are out and about on the north side. Go to North High from 4 to 6 today and find out what's going on here with this story. This is something we might have to rally and get behind, because there's no reason why we shouldn't have access to what is on police camera footage when it comes to things that are going down with, especially with our people in the hood. So all power to the people, and check it out. Heartland News Justice Committee hosting a demand for body cams town hall meeting today at 4:00 at North High. Check it out.
There you go. And that actually does kind of remind me of the Aaron Hansen situation. And the body cam footage that came out from that, and how the aftermath has been treated. How the police department is kind of treating that footage, and so it's interesting.
It is. 903. With that said, buddy, you got some words for the people? Let's go ahead and get on that.
Man, yeah. Big shout out to Senator McKinney for taking the time out of his busy schedule to come and speak with us. So we definitely appreciate you. Big shout out to all the chat chimers taking time out of your mornings for joining the conversation. Even the ghost listeners taking time for just listening. We appreciate you. Please spread the conversation. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we definitely appreciate you. And man, support is growing. We definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. We were getting love from the Bay to the A, so I love it, man. So let's keep going. Let's keep it going. And without further ado, Paul B, take it away.
Just want to give a shout out to our sister over here, man, Whitney Richardson. Go check out Political Evolution on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. She has got a show out. I just listened to her show with Precious McKesson, which was off the chain, and I heard she just recorded one with Kimra Snipes. So definitely go check her out, man. She's got several shows in that lineup. Definitely a powerhouse we'll be working with in the future. So definitely check her out. Political Evolution with Whitney Richardson on any place that you get your podcasts. I believe it's Apple Podcasts is the best place to reach her there. So definitely check her out. Thanks for everybody that's joining us. Ariel's 402 says hit the like button on your way out, please.
Yep.
Appreciate that very much. Pop says, great shows all week. Can't wait for them to start all over again after the weekend. Everybody have an awesome one. Appreciate you, Pops. Brooks says, great show. Thank you. Thank you. Leah Keiser says, thanks for making it a great week. Everyone, you guys rock. Thank you very much. So do you. Marianne Williams says, thanks all. Have a great weekend. Yes, take care of yourselves this weekend. Definitely. It's supposed to be a little chilly, so watch out for that. But definitely take care of yourselves. And we'll try to do the same, man. Get some rest and, come back fresh for Monday. And hopefully without the case of the Mondays. So shout out to all of you. I want to give thanks to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. I want to give a shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And I want to give a shout out to you, the chat timers, allowing us to speak with you on all things that are relevant to us in our neighborhoods and in our culture and with our friends and family. So really appreciate everybody that's doing that. Thanks to all the reoccurring sponsors of the channel as well. $10 people, $25 people, the $50 people. Thank you so much for paying for the channel and helping us to keep this conversation rolling and going and really supply information to a lot of these reporters and people that are writing these articles, people that are doing the work, investigating and trying to get down to the bottom of things to keep a track on stuff. So really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Zane says the show rocks.
The dude.
That's right.
Nice.
Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you very much. We will see you on Monday. And take it easy. Again, you can always go to Friends of First Sky and continue the conversation over there when we are not live. And we'd love to go back and read some of the stuff that you guys are posting. And we'll continue the conversation over there. So thank you very much. We'll see you Monday. Peace.
By the way, Van Glorious. This is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad, with the key.
By any means